Sup people, welcome to our channel. Today we will be looking at how to get an electricity meter from ECG, that's the electricity company of Ghana. But before we do that, I just want to say 21st December 2020 was when we first started this channel, so that means we're having our first anniversary this moment. We've had over 100,000 views, and so I just want to say thank you for your views, because without the views we wouldn't have the need to make the videos. While we appreciate everyone for your time, I just want to make a special mention of Bridgie. I hope I got the name right. We had our first comment from her, so we posted the first video, that's episode 1, on 21st of December, and the first comment we ever received for this channel was from her. So Bridgie, thanks for that comment. That started the whole comment session of this channel. I also want to show this comment that we got. We got this from Bright and Clara. It's a YouTube channel, and we have no relations, we've never met, but I just felt instead of just being a single subscriber as they requested, I should rather publish this so that for those who want to have a different perspective of building construction, you can take a look at that. I must say that I haven't really been able to watch their content, but I believe you can take a look at it and have a different perspective of the building process in Ghana. All right, now let's get to the main topic for the day, which is how to get an ECG meter. So the first thing you need is your site plan, which you may have already if you own a land. It's usually part of the indenture or the title. Once you do that, you will basically have to do your wiring. You don't need any connection man or anybody to help you get an electric meter. If you start on time, you will be fine. Many people will wait until they really need it before they apply, and that is when they try to use connection men or go through people to try and push it so that they get it faster. But if you start on time, usually within 3 to 6 months, you should have your meter once you put in the application. We tried it without using anyone and it worked, but this is the catch. You don't need to have every place wired. If your building is not ready as it was in our case, you can wire one room, or if it's an apartment like ours, you can go ahead and wire one of the units as we did, and then go ahead and apply. Of course, the wiring will need to be done properly, and you will need to have an MCB or a main switch, as you can see on your screen. Your wiring would also need to have the earth rod installed, because when the Energy Commission inspector comes, as you would notice later, he would need to test it with a device to make sure it is suitable for your building. Another thing you also need to notice, you shouldn't cover this earth rod completely. Before, people just cover it once it's installed, but now you need to put a pipe, maybe a 3-inch or 4-inch pipe around it, so that when the inspector comes, he can actually do the inspection required. I feel this is also a way to check that you've done the right thing, because people might just get an inch rod and just have the edge showing just to trick the inspector. But once you have the pipe around it, as you will see shortly, going all the way down, he's able to verify and make sure that at least the rod is buried deep in the ground. Note that if you don't do this, the inspector is going to fail you, so that means you're going to incur an additional cost the next time he is coming. In our case, we had a 6-foot rod. We we drove about 3 feet deep into the ground, and then we had 2 to 3 feet sleeved into a 3-inch PVC pipe, as you can see on your screen. So with the internal wiring done, you will need to get the board for the meter ready. As you can see, in my case, it appears all the wires from the main board, the main switches are black. That's because I had a lot of the black 16mm cable left, so I decided to use that. But the electricians have a way of marking it, so when anyone comes, they're able to tell which one is the live, the neutral, and then the earth. So once you have prepared the board for the meter, you now need to have the connection from the meter board to the shackles, where the connection to the mains will be done. And this is where we failed the inspection. Note that there are 2 inspections involved in the connection of the meter. The first one is the Energy Commission certified electricians one. That one we had no problem. We passed with no problem at all. It was the inspection by the ECG staff that we failed, and this was because of what you're seeing on the screen. We decided to pass the connection, the cables from the meter board to the shackles through the 2-bedroom side, and this was wrong. The reason he gave was that there has to be access to the meter from the mains at any time to the ECG staff, so we can't pass it through an apartment. It makes sense, because if it means that if there happens to be any problem, they would have to go into someone's room. Even though there's a conduit where they can pull the cable, that was not allowed. Even though it was a fail, we managed to still get it through, because at the time of the inspection, that place was a public place. There is no unit there, so that was the discussion we had. But I promise I'll have it corrected before we come for the other meters. He obliged, because he knew that definitely he would have to come and inspect when we come in for the remaining meters for the apartment. So even though it was a fail technically, it wasn't really a failure, because that unit is not an apartment yet. So we had that little escape to have it approved. So we did that, but definitely we're going to have a change. It's important you allow this feedback from the experts, and then don't get too worried about that, because it's actually good feedback, and since this is your own investment, it's important you do it right. So we took it in good faith, and definitely we're going to have it channeled through the outside. Another feedback we got from the Energy Commission inspector was we needed more of the earth rod if we're going to connect all the other apartments. That my electricians already knew, but what we currently installed was more than enough for that single unit that we had connected. So usually when they come, they will look at the system and offer advice. So just pay attention. For instance, the earth rod, if my electricians were not already aware, I could have told them, but definitely they knew it, so they were going to do the right thing anyway. Another interesting thing I found out was initially we intended to use armored cable to get everything underground, but the problem in Ghana is that so long as there's a street between the pole and your unit, you would have to necessarily get another pole installed. One of the reasons why I wanted to use armored cable was because I didn't want any pole or wire near my property. But with the rules, it meant that I had to erect a pole next to the building. So that will make it useless. So since we have a building higher than the pole, we decided to fix a shackle to the building and then wires along the walls of the building. We attempted to dig the street to whatever depth they would approve, but they said no. Once there's a street there, you would have to get a pole so that the wire goes overhead the street. So when you have everything completed internally up till the shackles, then you will get in touch with one of the Energy Commission certified inspectors. You can get their details at any of the ECG district offices. You can also get that from the Energy Commission website under licensing. Just choose your region. You will see their names and phone numbers and the districts where they work. So just look for your district and then call them. They will charge us at the time of doing this, which was this year, May, June, thereabout. They were charging between $250 and I think $350. So once he's past due, that is the form they will give you. So you would go to the ECG office with these forms and then your site plan, and then you're going to pay 10 Ghana cedis, as you can see in the receipt up there. So once you pay, the inspector will give you a call in about 2 weeks to 1 month, I believe. You can check the dates on the forms. If you don't hear from them after maybe 3 weeks, just call to follow up. So once you pay the 10 cedis, the ECG inspector is going to come and he's also going to do the inspection. So once he comes and everything is fine, he would let you know, and then you would be called within 2 weeks. This one, he's going to tell you how long it's going to take for them to reach out, so you can always check with them. But in our case, he said 2 weeks. When it was 2 weeks and we didn't hear from them, we just gave him a call. We took his number, so we gave him a call, and that was it. He said we can go ahead and get to the office and pay for the connection. Usually when they come, they would not demand anything from you, but we felt it was appropriate to just tip him. One thing was I really wanted to test the system without having to pay any bribe or get any connection. So in this particular instant, I made sure I finished everything with him before I gave him that little tip, so that it didn't be like I'm trying to bribe him to get me a pass. So once we were through, he sat in his car, and then I just went to see him and gave him that little tip. Once the approval is given for you to pay, you go ahead and make payment for 700 Ghana cedis. This was for the 3-phase connection. Single phase, I believe, is 400. I'm not too sure, but you can always verify from the ECG website or the call center. So when you pay that, I would advise you don't go following up in the office until 3 months. If you go anytime before 3 months, they will just tell you to wait. Once you get to the office and it's past 3 months, you will be asked to go see the district technical officer. In our case, after 3 months when we went there, interestingly, just when we went to see the DTO, he had 15 forms on his desk that was supposed to be worked on that week, and ours happened to be the 12th in the pile. So basically we didn't even need a follow-up. If we had just waited a week or two, I'm sure they would have come there anyway, because the forms were already being processed. So once that payment is made and you wait, they're going to call you. In our case, the contractor reached out around 4:00 p.m., which was a little bit surprising considering the time, but they came in and put up the wire, as you can see on the screen. But when they finished, it was a little bit late, so they decided to come fix the meter the following day. Of course, when the contractors come, if you want, you can give them a tip. Of course, If they come and their job is not satisfactory, you wouldn't have to tip them. So for the total cost, what it means is that officially, if you're getting a 3-phase meter, you will be paying 700 Ghana cedis plus the Energy Commission inspector fee of between 250 to 350. So if you add the two, that will be about roughly 1,050. Usually the ECG payment comes with 100 feet of a cable to connect from the mains to your shackle. If your shackle is further than that, they probably would require you to buy some cables, but otherwise you basically should be fine with this amount mentioned. Note that this was purely with just the ECG connection. We have videos regarding the wiring and the cost involved, so just stay tuned. We will touch on that in future videos. I have also started a process with Ghana Water Company, and so far that is also going very well, and it looks like if you go through the process, you wouldn't really need to pay any third party or connection man. Once everything is done with the Ghana Water connection, I would make an episode on that. So that is the meter. Obviously the connection looks messy, and that is because it's just a temporary connection. This was just to get power to the site. Once we are through and ready, we're going to definitely have a neater connection in an enclosement. Finally, I haven't been able to respond to your questions for a little over 3 weeks now. I was a little bit tight, but I should respond to them in the next 2 days. So that is it for this episode. Feel free to post all your questions in the comment section below. We certainly do answer all questions on Sundays. Thank you for watching. Have a Merry Christmas and a blissful New Year. Enjoy, people.